You're listening to Cool FM. Cool FM is a TVH Group of Networks radio station. Tondo's greatest hits are here. You are listening to Cool FM. Live from Cool Studios. This is koolNews at 11.
Good morning and welcome to Cool News at 11. Typhoon Gami passed through Taiwan overnight and was headed towards eastern China on Thursday, leaving 2 dead as heavy rains and strong gusts continue to lash the island in its wake. The day before, the storm had forced Taiwan to cancel some of its annual war games, shutter schools and office, and evacuate thousands from high-risk landslide-prone areas. By Thursday morning, its sustained wind speeds have weakened to 154 kilometers or 95 miles per hour. Up to the center has moved out to sea at around 4:20 a.m., said Taiwan's Central Weather Administration. Wind and rain continue posing a threat to various parts of Taiwan and the outlying islands of Penghu, Kinmen, and Matsu, the administration said. The nearby Philippines, which was not in Gami's path, saw its seasonal moon-sun rains exacerbated by the typhoon's impacts, triggering floods that killed at least 6, according to authorities Wednesday. Gami was locally named Karina by the State Weather Agency of the Philippines. The storm is now tracking towards China's Fujian province, while Taiwan is still experiencing persistent downpours and reports of flooding in the storm. Several cities, including Taipei, announced a second consecutive day off, with schools, government office, and the stock market closed. More than 200 people were injured and 2 killed before Gami made landfall at around midnight. A motorist in the southern Kaohsiung city was crushed by the tree, while a woman in eastern Hualien died after part of a building fell on her car. Taiwan is accustomed to frequent tropical storms from July to October, but experts say climate change has increased their intensity, leading to heavy rains, flash floods, and strong gusts. At its peak, Gami packed sustained wind speeds of 190 kilometers or 180 miles per hour as it was bearing toward Taiwan, prompting forecasters to say it could be the strongest typhoon to make landfall in 8 years. Some roads in Metro Manila remain flooded on Thursday due to the heavy rain triggered by the southwest monsoon or habagat and enhanced by Typhoon Karina. Below is the list of roads that are still flooded as of Thursday morning, based on information from the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority and local government units. For Quezon City, not passable to all types of vehicles as of 12:46 a.m. NS Amaranto Barangay Santo Domingo above West High Flood, Arianta Avenue E. Rodriguez above West High Flood, Arianta Avenue towards Del Monte above Knee High Flood, Gumamela Street Roxas above Knee High Flood, Caliraya Arianta above Knee High Flood, DMA Arianta above Knee High Flood, Champada Corner, Vargas Street, Barangay Roxas above Knee High Flood. For Malabon City, passable to vehicles as at 8 a.m. Governor Pascal Sansiangco, 8-inch flood. Catmon People's Park, a 5 to 6-inch flood. San Agustin MCAT, 8-inch flood. Catmon Super Health Center, 8-inch flood. Tonsuya P. Aquino, Pinacsagbucan, 8-inch flood. Sevilla Corner Estrella, 8-inch flood. Ibaba Jal Luna, Campos Street, 3 to 4 inches flood. Not possible to light vehicles as of 8 a.m. Aquino Barangay Tonsuya, knee height, not possible. Catmon Super Health Center, 38 inches flood. Tonsuya P. Aquino Avenue, Dagat-Dagadtan, 30 inches flood. For Pasay City, not possible as of 8:20 a.m. Ortigas Avenue Extension above knee-high flood. City of Manila, not possible to all types of vehicles as of 6:20 a.m. Rizal Avenue, gutter high. For Venezuela City, not possible to all types of vehicles as of 3:05 a.m. Near BDO Dalandandan at 18 to 19 inch high flood. Near Wilcon, Cubas Dalandandan, a 25 to 26 inch high flood. Bypass Road, Vintereles, 40 to 45 inch high flood. Bahay Kanlungan, Maysan, 14 to 15-inch flood. In front of Mayer Steel, corner T, San Diego, a 3 to 4-inch high flood. Dedro Street, Balangkas, 40 to 45 inches of flooding. Rivera Street, Polo, a 6 to 7-inch high flood. And G. Lazaro Street, Dalandandan, 13 to 14 inches high flood. Department of Trade and Industry Secretary Alfredo Pascal said Wednesday the agency activated its monitoring team to check if supermarkets and groceries are following the price freeze in areas declared under a state of calamity due to Typhoon Karina and the southwest monsoon. Under the Price Act, necessities are automatically put under a price freeze at the prevailing prices for not more than 60 days. We have activated our monitoring teams to strictly enforce the price freeze, Pascal said in the statement. The price freeze, effective immediately, aims to protect consumers from unjust price increases during this time of crisis. The Metro Manila Council on Wednesday placed the entire National Capital Region under a state of calamity due to widespread flooding. Among the necessities being monitored by the DDI are bread, canned fish, and other marine products, potable water in bottles and containers, processed milk, locally manufactured instant noodles, coffee, salt, laundry, soap, detergent, and candles. We are committed to ensuring that basic goods remain affordable and accessible to all affected residents, Pascal said. He added those found violating the law, including those found profiteering and hoarding during a state of calamity, would face penalties, including imprisonment. We urge all establishments to comply with the price freeze and prioritize the well-being of our fellow citizens during this difficult time, Pascal said. Consumers are also urged to report any overpricing and violations to the Department's Consumer Care Hotline, that's 1DDI 384, or via email at consumercare@ddi.gov.ph. The expanded number coding scheme is suspended on Thursday, according to the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority. The announcement was made following Malacanang's suspension of government work and classes at all levels in Metro Manila, Calabarzon, and Central Luzon, the MMDA said in a Facebook post on Wednesday. Suspension of the implementation of the expanded Unified Particular Volume Reduction program will continue on July 25, Thursday, following Malacanang's announcement that work in government offices and classes in all levels in Metro Manila, Region 3, and Region 4A will be suspended due to continuous rain brought by Typhoon Karina PH and the southwest monsoon. The MMDA also reminded motorists to avoid unnecessary trouble and to take extra precautions. Meanwhile, in a separate advisory, the State Weather Bureau said that Typhoon Karina will for the weekend and is forecast to exit the Philippine area of responsibility Thursday morning. A Philippine flag tanker carrying 1.4 million liters of industrial fuel capsized and sank in waters off Bataan province early Thursday morning, authorities said. We were able to rescue 16 out of 17 crew. One is missing, Transport Secretary Jimmy Bautista told a briefing. In an initial report, the Philippine Coast Guard said motor tanker Terra Nova capsized and eventually submerged 3.6 nautical miles east of Lamau Point in Limay Town at around 1:10 a.m. The Bureau of Immigration (BI) has given foreign nationals working in Philippine offshore gaming operators, or known as POGOs, and Internet Gaming Licenses, or IGLs, 60 days to leave the country, following the directive of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to ban these businesses. Immigration Commissioner Norman Tansico, in a statement on Tuesday, said they were expecting around 20,000 foreign workers in the gaming industry to wind down their affairs and over the next 2 months. He said the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corp, or PAGOR, provided his office a list of all the foreigners working in POGOs and IGLs. The BI will move to revoke the working visa granted to them and deny pending applications and new applications for visas for foreign POGOs and IGL workers, Tansico added. He warned that violators would face deportation, noting that he had instructed the Bureau's Intelligence Division and Fugitive Search Unit to intensify efforts to arrest violators and illegal online gaming hubs. PAGOR Chair Alejandro Tanco said he would consult with Tansico to discuss his 2-month deadline as the president had given these companies up to December 31st to close down. In his third State of the Nation address, on Monday, Marcos announced his order to ban all POGOs. Disguising as legitimate entities, their operations have ventured into illicit areas furthest from gaming, such as financial scamming, money laundering, prostitution, human trafficking, kidnapping, brutal torture, even murder, the president said. Tang Cinco on Tuesday said his agency would coordinate with POGOR and the Department of Labor and Employment to cancel permits issued to online gaming companies and their foreign employees. The BI chief said he shared the president's view that the social costs of online gaming companies outweigh their benefits. He said the BI had deported more than 2,300 working in scam hubs operating in disguise of gaming companies. Senator Sherwin Kachilian said he was very confident that 5 months were more than enough time to shut down illegal POGOs as long as there is political will. And from the message of the president, he is determined to wipe them out, he told the Inquirer in a text message. Kachilian clarified that POGOs last year generated only 15 billion pesos, 10 billion pesos to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and 5 billion pesos to POGOR. That's less than 0.5% of our country's total revenues. POGOs will disappear and we won't feel a thing, he said. Second, it only employs 20,000 Filipinos as compared to the 25,000 foreigners who are mostly Chinese. We have 12 billion peso budget for temporary and cash forward programs, Kachilian added. Senator Risa Hontiveros said the newly enacted Anti-Financial Account Scamming Act will allow the government to seize and use the properties of POGOs or ITLs involved in large-scale scams and human trafficking. Kachilian and Hontiveros have been the most active senators investigating the illegal activities linked to the POGO business. Hontiveros said in a statement that she was pleased that the AFASA law included her proposed amendments granting authority to the government to take POGO assets and properties. Now that the ban on POGOs or IGLs have been announced, several properties can be used and given to the victims of crimes linked to POGOs, she said. The AFASA law, or Republic Act No. 120110, was among the priority bills of the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council. It was sponsored by Senator Mike Wheeler in the Senate. It aims to combat the surge of online scamming and maintains financial institutions to implement necessary safeguards to protect the accounts of Filipinos. It also defines and penalizes money mulling activities, social engineering schemes, economic sabotage, and other offenses involving financial accounts. The Bangko Sentro ng Pilipinas is authorized by the law to probe and inquire into financial accounts that may be involved in prohibited acts. Hontiveros' amendment states that all properties, tools, instruments, and or any other non-liquid assets used in committing financial scams shall be subject to civil forfeiture. The seized assets can be released to the Department of Justice for operational support and victim protection, including victims of human trafficking. The victims rescued after a raid on the complex, run in the thousands for a scam complex, and government lacks the resources and capacity for operations and assistance, Hontiveros said. The release of the seized money needs a court order following a summary hearing and is subject to guidelines. This prevents the whimsical or improvident use of the monies and assets seized, she explained. The AFASA law and the POGO IGL ban are welcome and need to work in tandem, Hontiveros said. The hardships and sufferings of those victimized by POGOs are incomparable, but I hope that through this law, the government can make amendments by giving their much-deserved reparations, she said. While we celebrate the POGO IGL ban, we must continue to ensure that accountability is extracted from perpetrators and justice is fully served for victim survivors. It is now 40 minutes after 11, and we will be right back for more headlines right here on koolNews at 11. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Digital gaming company DigiPlus Interactive Corporation assured players and stakeholders it is not going away following the blanket ban order on Philippine offshore gaming operators, or known as POGOs. In a statement on Wednesday, the gaming operator stressed its operations remain unaffected since it does not fall under the category of a POGO. During his State of the Nation address last Monday, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. made a grand proclamation upholding all POGO operations in the country after being linked to crime syndicates engaged in human trafficking, money laundering, and online scams, among others. DigiPlus is not a POGO or an internet gaming licensee as defined under Philippine laws, DigiPlus President Andy Tisui said. The company explained it was a digital gaming company required to have physical branches for operations, unlike POGOs which only cater to online gambling. In addition, DigiPlus said it had secured different licenses to operate the traditional bingo, electronic bingo games, electronic gaming services, sports betting, specialty games, and poker. As such, local gaming enthusiasts need not worry. Fans of DigiPlus products will be glad to know that their top-of-the-line platforms will continue running without interruption, unaffected by the recent presidential announcement, Tisui said. DigiPlus runs 24/7 online bingo streaming platform Bingo Plus, which is supported by over 140 physical sites across the country. It also operates Arena Plus, an online sports betting platform that live streams local and international sporting events, including the conferences of the Philippine Basketball Association. Outdoor games offer are Color Game, Bingo Plus Poker, and Tung Sits Plus. Tisui earlier told the media they were anticipating to attract an additional 5 million to 10 million registered users this year with the launch of board games and its diversification into digital content portfolio. DigiPlus currently has about 20 million players. The company has earmarked 1.5 billion pesos to 2 billion pesos this year for capital expenditures, half of which will be invested in technology and game development. Tisui also said they were looking into making digital content like movies and sports news available on the platform as a value-added service. With projected growth in player base, DigiPlus estimates its revenues to shoot up by 10% to 20% this year. Department of Energy DOE Secretary Rafael Lotila said the Marcos administration was able to fast-track the completion of transmission line projects that will stabilize the power situation and reduce the electricity rates across the country. During the 2024 Post-State of the Nation address, solar discussions in Pasay City, Wednesday, Lotila said the length of transmission lines following the completion of various projects in the past 2 years increased by 10%. Lotila noted the 10% increase in the length of transmission lines between 2022 and 2024 is higher than the 8% increase from 2009 to 2022, or in the past 13 years. In his third SONA, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. boasted about the interconnectivity of the three major island grids that were envisioned 40 years ago. So for the first time, we have been able to connect the Visayas and Mindanao, and also therefore with Luzon, and we have one grid. What does this mean for the country? Right now, we have an excess power capacity in Mindanao of up to 800 megawatts a year. So the excess capacity can now be transported through the submarine cable to the Visayan Islands where they are going to be used, Lotila said at the panel discussion. So since 2016, this excess power has in effect been stranded. And that's why the president, when he came into office, concentrated on three major projects that would free up stranded power, he added. Last January, President Marcos led the energization of the Mindanao-Visayas Interconnection Project that will allow Mindanao to share some 450 megawatts of power with Visayas. The Cebu-Negros Panay Backbone Project that went online in April this year also allowed the transfer of power capacity up to Panay Island. In Luzon, would you believe that at the start when the president's term began, we had 600 megawatts of power in Bataan, which could not be fully utilized in the metropolitan area because there was not enough transmission lines, Lotila noted. The DOE chief said the administration's formula to deliver these critical projects is tutok at pukpok, focus, and political willpower. In the case of the Department of Energy, we do the tutok, but for the pukpok, we had to depend on the president, he added. Lotilla said that moving forward, the Philippine grid should build transmission loops that would further stabilize the power supply across the country. We still have more to do. For example, the Northern Luzon Loop, this is to connect Ilocos to Cagayan. Right now, those two areas is a one-way street, and that's why the power is unstable. We have got to build the loop in the transmission so that in case something happened in the Ilo site, we can use the Cagayan site and so on. Say with Panay, with Zamboanga Peninsula, and Mindoro that is needed to be interconnected with Luzon. These are things that we are going to work on, he said. For her part, Energy Regulatory Commission Chairperson Mona Lisa Di Manlanta said the interconnectivity of the country's grids will promote competition in the market that will push for lower power rates. The ability now of the system to export the excess power from Mindanao all the way to Panay is a unique experience that we are now enjoying. Because the excess supply will stabilize the supply situation in Visayas and all the way to Luzon. And additional supply definitely increases competition, and increased competition should be lowering electricity costs, Di Manlanta said. She added that if power costs remain high despite the stable supply in the market, the ERC will monitor the competition behavior of the industry players and will impose penalties on those engaging in anti-competitive practices. Now for the business news from international, Boeing will plead guilty to fraud as part of a deal with the U.S. Department of Justice over two fatal 737 MAX crashes, according to a court filing Wednesday. The agreement comes after prosecutors concluded Boeing floated an early settlement addressing the disasters in which a total of 346 people were killed in Ethiopia and in Indonesia more than 5 years ago. The plea deal must be approved by a federal court judge and it includes an additional $243.6 million to be paid by Boeing on top of a previous fine of the same amount. We will continue to work transparently with our regulators as we take significant actions across Boeing to further strengthen our safety, quality, and compliance programs, a spokesperson for the aircraft manufacturer told AFP while confirming the court filing. The high-profile agreement follows the DOJ finding in May that Boeing failed to improve its compliance and ethics program in breach of a 2021 deferred prosecution agreement in the wake of the MAX crashes. Boeing violated the DBA by failing to sufficiently design, implement, and enforce a compliance and ethics program to prevent and detect violations of U.S. fraud laws throughout its operations, prosecutors said in court documents. Boeing conspired to defraud U.S. air traffic safety regulators about the MAX 737 while the aircraft was being certified according to the filing. Boeing admitted in April 2019 that anti-stall flight software was partly to blame in the crashes. Terms of the plot deal call for Boeing to serve 3 years of organizational probation, conditions of which include having an independent monitor and investing at least $455 million on compliance, quality, and safety programs according to the filing. And finally, in non-business side, U.S. President Joe Biden told Americans Wednesday that he had dropped out of the 2024 election to unite his party and his country, saying in a historic Oval Office speech that it was time to pass the torch to younger voices. In his first televised address since his stunning decision, the 81-year-old hailed his tough and capable Vice President Kamala Harris, age of 59, who is set to be the new Democratic presidential nominee. The defense of democracy, which is at stake, is more important than any title, Biden said. I have decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That is the best way to unite our nation. Biden bowed out of the race later than any other president in U.S. history on Sunday, giving in to weeks of pressure from Democrats after a disastrous debate performance against Donald Trump raised concerns about his age and mental acuity. Using the powerfully symbolic setting of the resolute task, Biden's speech called for an end to the divisions of in US politics and said the country was more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. The veteran Democrat said there was a time for and a place for new voices, fresh forces, yes, younger forces. And that time and place is now. And just before we go, we would like to encourage you to donate to the following organizations who are affected by the Typhoon Karina. So again, any donations to these following organizations would be appreciated. So you can go ahead and scan the QR code right now in the following screen if you're watching koolNews on YouTube. And that is it for koolNews at 11. As always, you can always get in touch with us at tvh.philippines.news@gmail.com. And we will continue our headlines later with koolNews at noon, that is at 12 noon. Until then, I am Cairo, aka Aspir, and we will see you later at noon. Goodbye for now.